Hi everyone, this is Tom and I'm gonna be doing my Worlds 2021 Pick Ems today so you can see what my predictions are and also what my reasoning behind them is. Before we get started though, two things. First of all, in the link in the description below, you can find a lobby where you compete directly against me. It's not a Church of Chovy, it's the Holy House of Humanoid to celebrate EU's best player. So if you want to compete against me and see who gets more points, click on that link and you will be able to do so. And then secondly, as you may have seen, I've not uploaded as many video interviews on this channel as last year, and that's mostly because, first of all, this channel was always a side project where I can practice and get better at doing video interviews and to be able to do them for sites that pay me for them, and I've done so you can find interviews like that on upcomer.com, and also my article interviews still appear on hotspawn.com as usual. Now, I'm gonna be trying to do more of them in the group stage for this channel as well, so keep an eye out and you'll see where they appear. Alright, so let's get into my pick'em predictions. And as you can see here, these are the groups. This is not my pick prediction quite yet, so don't freak out. This is how the site loaded them, so I'm going to be adjusting them as we go through the groups. Now, before I start, I want to say that I think, and I've said this quite a few times on several articles and on social media as well, I think in this tournament there are 5 teams that could realistically lift the trophy at the end. That's FPX, EDG, RNG, Damonkia, and Mad Lions in no particular order. Well, except for my winner prediction, obviously I'll get to that eventually. I think those teams overall are just the most well-rounded teams. They have shown in their regions to adapt very quickly, to play very cleanly, and I think those 5 teams are just a cut above. Obviously, not all of them have the same chance. To me, it's not like a 20% for each team to win the trophy, but realistically, I think one of these 5 teams will win it. And the other teams are just a cut below with clear flaws that can be exposed by these 5 teams. So with that said, let's get into Group A, because Group A, Group of Death, because it has the strongest teams in the tournament condensed together. If you look at the overall power level, I think Group A is definitely the most stacked. And unfortunately for LEC fans who follow my work, Rogue is in it again. But let's go from the bottom up. It is actually very tough for me to predict who is going to be 3 and 4 between Rogue and Cloud9. Yes, surprise, I think those 2 teams will end up towards the bottom, because Cloud9 had obviously flaws. We saw them in the play-in stage lose against Unicorns of Love. Their early game is pretty weak, and then they get better as the game progresses. Whereas Rogue has a strong early game, but we've also seen them collapse in the LEC when things didn't go well for them. So overall, I think these 2 teams are actually very evenly matched. It's going to be very exciting to see them play on the opening day of the World Championship group stage. So yeah, how do we range them? I think overall, Rogue is just a little bit plays in a stronger region overall, so they are more tested than Cloud9, even though Cloud9 has some veterans who have been on the international stage as well. I think Rogue is going to be slightly better prepared than Cloud9, and maybe also a little bit EU bias. I'm going to put Cloud9 on 4th place and Rogue in 3rd. So then we get to the discussion, who is going to win Group A? Damonkia, the World Championship in 2020, or FunPlus Phoenix, the World Championship in 2019. It's going to be a very close match, definitely. Both mid laners are top in the world. They have very good junglers each, and I think that overall these teams are going to be very competitive with one another. Now, the one thing that gives me the confidence that FunPlus Phoenix is not only going to win this group, but actually I think they are the favorites to win the tournament, is because of how consistent they have been in the LPL. They got second 2 splits in a row this year. The meta also suits them, I think. It's a very skirmishy. It allows for a lot of wacky picks, I think, to slip in there, and I think that is something that FunPlus Phoenix really likes, especially Doinby in the mid lane. He likes playing things like Kled. We've seen him play Nautilus, remember, in 2019. Rumble maybe even mid. I don't think that's going to happen this year, but you know, that those kind of things really play into what Doinby likes to play. I think he's the best player in the world, and with him enabled, I think FunPlus Phoenix is going to be the winner of Group A. Now, I can see a world where both of these teams end up in the grand finals, but we'll get to that eventually. So let's get to Group B then. It consists of DFM, T1, EDG, and 100 Thieves. I'm sorry, DFM, but you are very clearly to me the number 4 team. And that's not because I thought you were underwhelming in the play-ins. I think you actually lived up to expectations, right? You made it to the group stage. Well, I think you exceeded expectations for many, but I, in my predictions, in an article that came out before World started, said that I thought Destination Focus Me was going to make it out of the play-ins and to the group. So lived up to my expectations, which maybe were a bit high. Anyway, DFM, I think the biggest downside for you when I compare to 100 Thieves, who I think are going to be third, is that 100 Thieves is very good at preparing. They study their opponents incredibly well, and DFM has shown in the play-ins already what they can bring to the table. So I think 100 Thieves is going to take advantage of that by preparing extremely well, which is how they won the LCS, and using that tackle Destination Focus Me. Now, there is a world where I can see Destination Focus Me beat 100 Thieves. It's not out of the question, of course, because I think Destination Focus Me has pretty decent overall power, but 100 Thieves is also very good, and I do think that they just edge it out by the preparation and by the time they have had to study Destination Focus Me. And then we get to EDG and T1. Now, it will probably not surprise you if I think that EDG has a realistic chance of winning the tournament, that I think that they are going to win Group B, and T1 is going to be second. T1, obviously, you have the greatest player of all time on it, Faker, but I think their bot lane is actually more exciting with Gumayushi in Korea. I think if we look at current state of playing, I think the bot lane is stronger and is actually their strong side. So I hope that we can see some explosive bot lane matchups there, especially against EDG, who obviously have Viper in the bot lane. Now, I do not really see any chance that 100 Thieves takes a game of T1 or EDG, even though their preparation is very good. If we look at overall power level, I think that T1 is clearly better. EDG is the LPL champions, cannot disrespect them. They are just the most well-rounded team in this group, so that is my prediction for Group B. Then we get to Group C, and I think this is a group that is gonna kill many people's play-in predictions, because it is pretty difficult, honestly, to get the order. I've seen virtually every order already when I look at social media, people posting their predictions. Some of them are probably deliberately a bit more spicy than others, putting RNG in last place, for example, but I don't think that's gonna happen. Still, I think it's gonna be a very, very close group with lots of possible outcomes depending on how these teams have used their preparation time and how well they have adapted to the meta. Because remember, 11.19 is a wild card that we even in play-ins saw not even stabilize. Now, I do expect that in the group stage, it's going to stabilize much more, because these are the better players overall, first of all. But also, I think these top players are a bit more conservative with what they want to play, except for a few. So I don't think it's going to be as wild. I would love to, though, because I just love the Fiesta. So anyway, I think in fourth place, it's going to be Hanwha Live Esports. In play-ins, it got proven once more that this team is quite literally Chovy and 4 wards, except obviously against Beyond Gaming, where Deft had a few very good games. I still think Deft is a very good bot laner. I think he is one of the best bot laners in the world. But as a team, Hanwha Live does not function without Chovy. And I think that the other 3 teams in this group are going to be able to punish Hanwha Live for its many flaws that it had, because it does not play pretty League of Legends. It's pretty chaotic. It's all over the place, and they rely on individual pop-offs, which isn't how you're gonna get many wins in advanced stages of the World Championship. So I think Hanwha Live, the most flawed team in the group. Now, for me, then it gets as a toss-up between Fnatic and PSG Talent. Why do I say this? PSG Talent reach the semifinals, obviously, of MSI. Many people had high hopes for the team, but after seeing Beyond Gaming play and how important Doggo was for them, I'm kind of beginning to doubt how important Doggo was also for PSG Talent at the MSI. Obviously, he had very good games, but also a player like Kaiwing had very good games. I think Unified as the new bot laner has big shoes to fill with Doggo, but his synergy with Kaiwing might be better. Then we look at River in the jungle. I think he's pretty solid, but PSG Talent, I might have overrated them heading into the event if I look at how good Beyond Gaming was. And Beyond Gaming was on even footing with PSG Talent in the PCS. So, Fnatic then. Fnatic, obviously, they got second in the LEC, which is a very good achievement. For them also to win like 4 best of 5s in a row in order to get to the finals of the LEC is insane. They played more games in the playoff stage of the LEC than they did in the regular split. But still, I think LEC, as I said, Mad Lions is a top contender. Fnatic got exposed by them. I think many people kind of overhype how good Fnatic is because they got second. I think they're still very clearly flawed in how they approach the game. They have insane laners. Hylissang and Upset are a fantastic bot lane. Niski is a fantastic mid laner. I think he really stepped up. Adam in the top lane is more reliant on playing bruisers than other champions. So I will have to see how he adapts at Worlds. And Whipple in the jungle has quickly been learning jungle, but I think as a team, Fnatic has clear flaws in that they are overly aggressive. They don't know when to stop. While they're all on the same line and how they want to play the game, I think that this team overall needs to know when to pump the brakes a bit more. So we have 2 teams with clear flaws, and in the end, I'm probably then going to give it to the resilience of Fnatic because they have shown a big learning curve in the playoffs of the LEC, and that gives me confidence that they're going to do that. So that will be Fnatic in second and PSG Talent in third. Now, RNG first. I have no idea why people underestimate RNG, honestly. This team won MSI. They won the LPL. Obviously, MSI was not the best tournament in terms of level of play. I think every team that played there was quite flawed and had clear holes in how they approached the game. But RNG, they it's a 3rd seed of the LPL. We saw Suning last year make it to the finals as the 3rd seed of the LPL. And as I said, they won MSI. This is a very good team. I'm really not sure why it keeps getting underestimated by people I see online. So now, Group D. Spoiler, Mad Lions is going to be first in my opinion. As I said, they are one of the 5 teams I can realistically see the trophy. I will say it's probably the smallest chance for them to win it out of those 5 teams. But if I look at the teams that are complete, as I said, I think Mad Lions is definitely one of them. The most complete, I guess, because the early game isn't as great. Anyway, we have a pretty tough battle for me between 4th, 3rd, and 2nd in Group D, because I think none of these teams are really gonna advance past the past the top 8, past the quarterfinals, because they all have clear flaws. Let's start with Gen G. They have, I guess, international star power. Ruler is an exceptional bot laner, for example. BDD is a solid mid laner, but as a team, Gen G is very predictable. Team Liquid also has pretty decent players on the roster, lots of international experience, but they fell apart in the LCS. And then LNG, I think LNG is a solid team, but I think especially in the early days of the play-in stage, we saw them play very sloppily. So we have 3 teams that have clear flaws. Overall, though, I have to put TL in 4th place in my prediction here, because I think that compared to Gen G and LNG, they are not on the same star power level. And I doubt that they will be able to read a team like Gen G immediately. So I think they're going to suffer an initial loss. Now, they may redeem themselves against either of these teams one time, but I don't think that they have the consistency to do that twice, which is what they need in order to advance, right? Then between LNG and Gen G, I think LNG is overall the better team, so I'm going to put them in second place. I do think that they are able to capitalize on Gen G's predictability, and I think that if I value what LNG has, they have Tartan, exceptional jungler, of course. I think one of the best junglers in the world. I also do think that they are a more complete team than a team like Gen G or Team Liquid. So those are my pick'ems for the group stage. Let me know in the comments below what you think. You probably shouldn't copy exactly what I have predicted here, because the odds that I get it right are obviously not incredibly high if you just look at it statistically. I will say though that in the playing stage I predicted each match outcome, and overall I ended at a 69% correct rate of predictions. Nice. So let's discuss in the comments below who you have advancing in each group, and let me know why you may or may not agree. I love these discussions. That's what these pick'ems are for, right? To discuss what everybody wants to see happen. I think it makes you think critically. It makes you evaluate each team. It makes you just consider, okay, what makes each team strong. So that's what I very much like. And thank you very much for watching. Stay tuned for more content.